Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success. This is episode 215 on this beautiful Wednesday morning, and it's good to see everybody here. Today is Wednesday, and just like every Wednesday, we're going to talk about things of a spiritual nature. And as you can see by my good friend, co-founder Mission 25, he's sporting the shirt today. We're going to talk a little bit about Mission 25. We're going to get into it. I got a Bible question. I'm going to spring on my friend Matt, and it's going to be awesome. So thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing this morning?
Mike, I love it. I mean, I love that the fact that, you're going to just throw a Bible question at me and not give me any preparation whatsoever to think about it, to maybe research it. And there's no telling what you're going to pull out of the hat, my friend. But anyways, it's good to see everybody. This is Wednesday. And like my friend Mike says, every Wednesday, we talk about spirituality. Listen to me. Listen, for someone not to take the time in their life to deal with the spiritual side of their life is like not putting gasoline in the car and expecting it to drive. Like right. Going in there and beating the steering wheel, kicking the car. This is a piece of junk. This car sucks. Just go all out on the car, right? And all along, you keep refusing to put gas. Even your friends, your wife says, look, you've got to put gas in the car. The reason why it's sputtering and not starting is because you didn't put gas in it. Like, Mike, we can't neglect our spiritual life. Like, we are all spiritual beings, all of us. Every breathing human being has a soul. Now, the body gets fed by food, the pleasures of life. The mind, we feed the mind, intellectual stuff, things that we think about or whatever. But our soul, my friends, only God, only Spirit can really feed our soul. So that's why, of course, when you talk about success, some people say, wow, you guys do a spiritual show when you do a talk show about success? Absolutely.
Right.
Because without God in your life, there is no success. Like the secret to success is God. And people ask me all the time, hey, how did you get where you are today? And I always say God, and I don't mean to give that answer because I know there are other steps you have to take, no doubt. And God gives you the power to take them and God teaches it. Like I believe, Mike, if you took the top, let's say you took the top 50 business people in the world, in the history of the world, the top of the top, I'm talking from Steve Jobs to Bill Gates to Donald Trump to Mark Cuban to whoever. I mean, the list goes on, obviously. But you take the top business people and you had them each share a principle, a business principle. I can assure you, Mike, or a success principle, that all 50 of their principles would, even if they didn't even claim it as this, they would all be Bible-based.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I believe all wisdom comes from the Bible. All direction comes from... Now, people, even the book The Secret. Remember the book The Secret that, sold millions upon millions of copies? I personally liked the book. Did I agree with everything in the book? No. But you know why I liked it? Because much of what was written in that book is actually biblically based. It really is. And I got a kick out of reading it. And I was like, this is the Bible. I was like, this is what God teaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's Proverbs. It's about your thoughts. It's about your desires. It's about, your energy. And all of that is biblical, my friends. It really is. So many writers, many movements out there, they call it different things. But at the end of the day, when you pull it back, it all points back to the Bible. Thank God for the Bible.
Absolutely. That actually, we could just wrap the show right there. 4 minutes in, that's all you need today. But we're going to go deeper.
That's all you need. Well, Mike, since I started off talking about the Bible, why don't you go ahead and stump me right at the beginning here, my friend, with your question that you were going to throw at me. Then we'll dive in and talk a little bit about missions trips in America. Mission awesome. 25.
Well, I'm going to read in my actual Bible. Oh, this is my I word, by the way.
That's funny right there, I word. You put an Apple sticker on the back of your Bible. Some people would criticize that. I personally would not.
I didn't alter the Bible. I just put a sticker. Hey, so
on the cover, by the way, By the way, it's on the cover
On the
of the
cover.
Bible. It's not even actually the Bible. It's just the cover, my friend. So please go easy on Mike today. Don't rip him on the forums. Don't type. It's a sad day in America when ministers put Apple stickers on the back of their Bible. Don't do that. Go easy on my boy.
Seriously. Plus, it looks aesthetically pleasing, nicely centered in the black cover. So, Anyway,
Apple was smart. They would sell iBibles
yeah.
if they were smart.
Come on, Apple. Get on the ball here.
They created this King James version of the Bible and put this beautiful Apple sticker on the top. Why not? iBible. They've done everything else.
So here's my question for you. In reading in Acts chapter 16, and let me just read real quick what it says. I'll sort of.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike, you want to read? You can read, my friend. It's our show.
It's our
Take
show.
time to read to us.
Tommy asked if I measured this or eyeballed it. Huh?
Only reason why I stopped to say that is because you said let me read. So what I was saying is we're letting. I'm giving you permission.
Good. And I'm gonna make a completely random comment. Tommy asked if I measured this or I eyeballed it. I eyeballed it because our eyes are well calibrated. We are wonderfully made. So
Good.
in Acts chapter 16, Paul and Silas are going down to the place of prayer, and they met a demon-possessed girl, right? And she was a fortune teller who earned a lot of money for her masters. And I'm reading from the NLT version here because this is like my daily read, one of the versions I use. She followed along behind, shouting, "These men are servants of the Most High God. They have come to tell you how to be saved." And the Bible says in verse 18, this went on day after day until Paul got so exasperated that he turned and spoke to the demon within her. "I command you in the name of Jesus Christ, come out of her." And instantly it left her. My question to you is, why did it go on day after day?
Why did Paul let it go on day after day?
Exactly. So here's a demon-possessed girl that's like following them every day, and he just let it happen for days.
I think because he was so, this would be my take, spur of the moment. I think because he was so focused on the mission and he really didn't care because he knew he had that much power and he knew that, it didn't impact or affect maybe his flow or his ministry. So he thought, you know what? I ain't got time for you, I mean, I can see Paul being that way. Like, I'll deal with that when I feel like it. It ain't no big deal. It's just a demon. You know what I mean? Like, that happens in our churches nowadays. They, board up the windows, kick all the ladies out, kick all the kids out. That's like massive crises. You see one demon-possessed person. It's like, I want to make an announcement. I want every mother and child to leave the building immediately. I think Paul was just like, nah, it's just a demon. No big deal. I mean, that's my take, Mike. What, did I do good?
I love that take. Absolutely. And just so y'all know, Matt had no idea what question I was going to ask him. And I actually, that was brilliant insight. I love that. I kind of always looked at it and thought, well, the apostles were just guys like us, right? And he may have had a couple off days too. Been like, I'm just tired, and I'm like, I just want to go down and pray and whatever. And then finally, it kind of got to the place where he said, well, I better probably do something about this. I mean, we tend to think of the apostles as like superhuman, but they totally weren't. They were just guys.
Mike, that's powerful. I like that analogy as well. And you're right, dude. You told me 30 seconds before the show started, before you were about to click go live, you told me you were going to throw a Bible question at me, and you said you ain't going to have any idea what it is. And I thought, ooh, what's Mike gonna bring out today? We should do that every Wednesday. In fact, next Wednesday I'm gonna put one on you.
Awesome.
And, so, Mike, it's kind of like this. You're right. Off days. Janice, who you all know on Fuel for Success, who's just, she's just on another level at praying with people. And she came up to me at Mission 25 this weekend in D.C. at the shelter because a homeless person wanted to receive the Holy Ghost. She's like, would you come over and help me pray? And I was like, Janice. It's like, actually, I said, why don't you handle this? Because honestly, quite frankly, I was tired. And at that moment, I was just kind of getting a breather. I was just kind of, and it's like, Janice, like, really?
Janice doesn't need,
I was like, girl,
need help.
you can
She's
pray
like,
him through. Like, yeah, I was like, girl, get out of here. You go, you can do it. Like, before you even touch him, he's going to get the Holy Ghost, you know? So anyways, it's funny to me, but only reason I said that is, yeah, there is a consideration to the fact that Paul just didn't even want to deal with it. He thought, you know what, I ain't even got the energy to deal with that right now. But when the time is right, bam, you know? So that's my take. Good thought, though. Really good thought.
awesome. And just quick follow-up, Al's asking why would he continue to make the woman who was possessed continue to suffer with it. And I think probably he wasn't thinking about that at the time. You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes...
Please show Paul a little mercy. I'm going to have to ask you to be not so hard on Paul, my friend.
Yeah, lighten up on Paul. He was okay.
If you think Carol's tough on you, Al, you get to having to deal with Paul, my friend. It's a whole new world, and I ain't going to be there to save you.
Well, and you know, the other thing is that they were going every day down to the place of prayer. And here's one of the things that I've learned in ministry, just like in entrepreneurship or whatever, you will literally have a pile of work in front of you that you will never finish. And so sometimes there are things that you would love to do and people you would love to help, and you cannot get to everyone. And it's unfortunate, but it's a reality.
You can't. And I'll say this, spinning off what Mike just said and kind of what Al said as well, that a lot of times, sometimes Jesus didn't run to people because actually he was testing their desire. Could even be that Paul wanted to see how bad she wanted free. And meaning, like, listen, not even God, as big as he is, he's a gentleman. He doesn't force himself on people. Listen, he knew. You don't think God knew that those people were standing outside the door with the four men that carried the man with the what was he, how do you say it, paraplegic?
I don't know, he's paralyzed.
Is that what he had?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was paralyzed. I mean, of course he did, but could he have, I mean, in being God, he knew it. Could he not have gone out there? Like, Jesus rarely chased people. He actually, the one, you go study all the instances, usually there was hunger, there was persistence, there was desire. Like, it's actually the opposite of the way we present God. Usually, like, Jesus would say to some people, oh, you want to be my disciple? Okay, I got an idea here. Go home, sell everything that you have, give it to the poor, then come follow me. Can you imagine? Like, he literally said that to people. And the man went away. Jesus didn't chase him. The prodigal son, Jesus didn't chase him. So there is a different side sometimes that God is not going to bow to anybody. Like, God wants to see hunger out of people. God wants to see desire. And I'm just saying as a thought, Al,
yeah.
It very well could have been. One of the reasons Paul may not have is because he just felt like she really didn't want to be free. And so maybe he didn't deal with it until, she saw that desire for freedom. And I've actually taken on the same approach with some people, where people that wanted me to mentor them, they want the easy way. So sometimes I'll give them a hard task to do. And if they can't do that hard task, or I don't see fire in their eyes to do that hard task, I'm not going to invest my time into them. And that's not arrogance. It's because sometimes the only way you'll ever find out how bad someone wants it is to put them in that situation where they got to show how bad they want it.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is why some reasons God doesn't answer some of your prayers. For example, you ready for this? Remember the blind man? Jesus touched his eyes. Remember, he came for healing. He was completely blind. Jesus asked him, do you see aught? These are the exact words he used. Do you see aught? In other words, do you see the way you ought to see? The blind man's response was this: Lord, I see men as trees walking. What is that answer? The answer is no. I'm not seeing like I ought to see. So sometimes God does a little for us to test how complacent we're going to be and content or satisfied. And I don't mean content in a good way. I'm talking about, are we going to, in other words, he could have been happy with that.
Yeah.
He could have said, oh my God, even though it's not perfect, I see at least a little bit. And he could have celebrated at that moment, but he didn't stop there. So like the angel, Jacob wrestled with the angel all night. He said, I'm not letting go until you bless me. You know, you got this, you just have so many illustrations in the Bible. God let the children of Israel go literally right to the Red Sea with the Egyptian army pursuing hardcore after them. God could have done it differently, you know, but God sometimes gets us to our breaking point to test how bad we really want it and what we're really made of. And that's where our faith grows. So I know this is kind of a spin-off of,
That's
a whole
great
other
stuff. Good stuff and great dialogue over here. Real quick, first of all, hey, our good friend of my family, Rachel Kwong, great comment. She said maybe, speaking of Paul in Acts 16, maybe their humanity got in the way of them recognizing what was happening. That's kind of what I was saying as the apostles just being meant. I mean, it could be that, in hindsight, now they know she was demon-possessed, but for like 3-4 days, they may have been like, what's up with that chick, right? And then just later, they sort of, oh, I see what's going on, and then took care of it.
Yeah,
that's quite possible. Good to see you, Rachel, and thank you for the input. Hey, so we're halfway through the show. Yeah.
And shout out to Rachel, who does a lot of volunteer work for Mission 25 behind the scenes.
Right.
She's not, and this is what I love. She's not able to come to all of our mission trips, but she volunteers and she helps a lot behind the scenes. And so a great big thank you to Rachel Kahn.
Yeah. Kwong, yeah. Kwong.
Kuyan. You ever try to pronounce people's names how they sound?
How they're spelled phonetically? So, yeah, sometimes you got to be... Hey, so we're halfway through the show. We were going to talk about Mission 25 a little bit, or a little recap from Washington, D.C. Since you have the shirt on and everything, we should probably jump to that. And before we do that, I do want to say, anybody that has questions, by all means, email them in, mike@mattmaddox.com, text them in 727-341-5599, or of course you can always type in chat, etc., send them on a carrier pigeon, snail mail, what else? You could write a song and video it and send it to us, whatever.
Listen, Mike, before we do talk about Mission 25, I really want to just mention for a minute what I believe about God. See, God does not respond to I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm about to say. God does not respond to our needs. He responds to our faith. Now, you're going to have to chew on that for weeks. And that's going to mess with some of you. Because you think that because you have a need that God's going to automatically react. And that's just not the case. God is only going to react to your faith. And that's why you, as in your spiritual life, the most important thing you have to do is build your faith. And there are a couple of ways of building your faith, of course, biblically. But friends, sometimes God literally is testing us. And Mike, it's like you spill something, and maybe you get a new couch and your kid spills something, and like all of a sudden, like I know people, Mike, that literally they spaz, man. I know people, I've seen it. Where like they won't go to church for weeks. They like something like literally like I just can't have any. I've seen people's. I just can't have anything nice. Like literally, whether it's maybe someone scratches their car, they get a new car. Maybe someone spills something on their new couch. I imagine God looking at that and just like almost like, really, like you're gonna could God? I wish God would sometimes just play a movie of the rest of the world.
Huh.
Wouldn't that be amazing? If all of you that are out there sucking your thumb over the stupidest, smallest little things, and all of a sudden God shows you a movie of children that I've seen with my own eyes, crawling in trash cans eating, like digging through food. Listen to me, digging through trash to find food. Where I've walked into Mike, the poverty that we've seen. I have seen children, right? So I don't let my son complain. You know what? Caleb knows the fastest way to get me angry at him as a dad, now you know what I mean. I mean like a healthy angry.
Yeah.
Is to complain. Like, to me, Mike, the greatest sin we'll ever commit is complaining. Because dare God one day, and he may do it to some of you, if he shows you a picture or a video of the rest of the world and people that are really suffering, and you're whining because somebody broke your fancy china, like, people flip out over stuff. You know what's killing us, Mike? Stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, Caleb and I were talking about this last night, and I want to talk about this a minute. Mike, I believe you and I are literally coming into wealth, and I want y'all to hear me on this. Mike and I are extremely kingdom-minded, missions-minded. But we also have started some businesses that are going to bring an unbelievable return. Potentially millions upon millions upon millions, right? And I want you to hear me on this. Caleb was asking me, Dad, you know what? When you're making millions, what are you going to do different? I said, Caleb, I'm going to be honest with you. There's probably not too much of my lifestyle I'm going to change at all. In fact, I don't know of really anything that I'll do differently. Are you still there, Mike?
Yes.
My computer just went on sleep here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
And I said, and I mean this. What I'm about to say, I mean. I said, Caleb, I've learned about people that get stuff. Usually stuff takes you away from family, from freedom, from happiness. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not against anybody that goes out and buys 4-wheelers and boats and, owns 2 or 3 houses. And I said, but for me, Caleb, when I'm wealthy, I'm not going, and I'm not just saying this, like, I truly feel it. I don't believe, and if I go buy a 4-wheeler, it's not the end of the day, right? But I'm not going to, I think, Mike, in America, we really have lost sight. I believe America is probably going to be the first country to go to hell because we've lost sight. I mean, the fact that there are baseball players and football players that won't play, that literally won't play because, their team is not giving them an extra $10 million, so they sit out, they hold out, Yeah. It's like, and please don't misunderstand, we really should take 30 minutes to really dive into this subject. Because I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I am not against having stuff. I'm against having stuff if you are not, missions-minded, if you're not doing, listen, if you haven't bought a car for a missionary and you own 2 or 3 boats and you have 4 cars in your driveway, you're going to hell. I mean, you're literally going to hell. If you haven't done something for a missionary, or listen, forget a missionary. If you haven't helped kids in third world countries or even here in America that are at poverty level, like, Mike, there's a danger in riches. Riches is actually a blessing. Wealth comes from God. But I like what Karen said. That's good. Is the stuff having you. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay if I don't know. I've never said you're going to hell. I don't say you're going to hell. I'm saying it to drive home the point. You understand what I mean by that?
It's an alliteration.
I'm pretty passionate about this, Mike, because greed. Okay, I know poor people that are greedy, but I also know a lot of wealthy people that are greedy as well.
Right. Just I was actually thinking about this morning as I was driving my daughter to school, and just sometimes I like to just do word games in my head to try and clarify the way my thought process is, and the reality is this, is that our ministry and our mission stuff is not a business, right? And we're doing business to support our mission and our ministry. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. And then one other quick thing is Al said, once we have $100 million, we won't do fundraising anymore. Actually, we will, and here's why.
Well,
it's because
we absolutely will.
The reason why is because the people that give to a ministry that God is blessing will be blessed, and so we don't want to take that opportunity away from people. We won't be quite as stressed on Friday before a mission, probably, but we'll still do fundraising.
Yeah, exactly. For example, Al, what I mean by that is, Mike and I said this. We said even if we had millions, we would still take up an offering because we are cheating people by not giving them an opportunity to give to this. we're like doing you a disservice. I mean, we mean that in the most humble way possible. That you are so ridiculously blessed when you give to something like Mission 25, that for us to like not give you that privilege and opportunity is wrong. It's selfish. It's selfish if Mike and I say, we're going to fund this whole thing. You know who's going to be, if Mike and I decided to fund the entire Mission 25, there's only two people that's going to be blessed then. Right. Me and Mike. We're going to keep getting more. Like, so why would we be that selfish? Like, yeah, it's good for the ego to say, oh, I fund the whole Mission 25. That's great for the ego, my friends, but you're doing a disservice to people by not giving them a chance to give. And let me say this real quick, just to clarify also as well. Meaning, I've got a nice car, right? So Caleb asked me, are you going to go get a baller car? I said, no, I'm not. Like, when this comes in, I'm not going to change my car. I'm going to keep driving that car until I don't need to drive it, until it's done. Yeah. Like, there would be no need for me to go buy a brand new car just because I, quote unquote, have the money. Like, let me just say this, not our money show, but I do believe that every single person has to pass the money test and the wealth test before you get it. That's why the average millionaire's gone broke 2 or 3 times, because there's lessons they've got to learn. And one of the lessons you'll find about all those that got wealth is this fantasy of the quote-unquote high life. I would rather, I told Caleb, you know what, I would rather do more trips and make more memories with family and friends than have more stuff. You know what I mean? So I would invest my money in memories, friends, family, missions, than stuff. Stuff is stuff, man. When you die, they're going to auction it off, or your kids are going to fight over it. Especially if you haven't raised them right.
Stuff is a burden. That's just my opinion. I like what Tommy says over here. He says wealth doesn't corrupt, it magnifies who you already are. I think that's true.
Listen, I literally walked away from a gorgeous 3,000 square foot, 4-bedroom house and have downsized. Like, I'm happier now than I've ever been. And I live in the smallest place I've ever lived in since I was in college. And I'm happier now than I've ever been because I have time. I've got friends that they don't have time to pick up their kids from school. They never get to spend time with their family. Like they say, rich people have money, wealthy people have time. Like, I know a lot of people that have a lot of money, but they don't have any time. I'd rather have more time than more money. But I'd actually rather have both. I want time and I want money, as should all of you. But I just think no matter what, and you know what? You want to know what it really impacted me? I was with Anthony Mangan. I want y'all to hear this. Anthony Mangan. Okay? The man is wealthy. I'm just going to shoot straight. He's wealthy. He's blessed. He's blessed. Of course he is. He's worked hard. He's built a mega church. But he's extremely conservative with his finances. And we were talking, and he's got an old iPhone, man. And I said, hey, are you going to get the iPhone 6? And he's like, no. I was like, why not? You don't like it? He goes, you know what, Matt? He goes, this iPhone works just fine. And he said, it's just stuff, man. He goes, why would I go buy an iPhone 6 when I can take that money and help one more missionary? And I'm like, I got a lump in my throat, right? And he was like, told me the story that he was in Dallas with his wife, and there was this pair of shoes that he loved. He loved them. He loved them. He loved the shoes. They were only $90. His wife was like, Anthony, get them. You love them. He's like, I do love them, but I'm not going to get them. And, and of course, I said, why? Why didn't you buy them? It's $90. $90 isn't going to break Anthony Mangan, right? He said, Matt, he goes, why would I buy those shoes when I don't need them? It's just stuff. And I was like, wow, God, let me forever remember that.
Right.
Because there's just so many times, like, our garages and attics become filled with stuff we don't need. And I think it's killing us. In fact, the Bible said that. Jesus said that the cares of this life are choking the word of God in us, and it's becoming unfruitful. Like, some people are, like, I honestly believe, Mike, there are so many scriptures where Jesus in the book of Acts tells us to sell our stuff and give it to the poor. I believe if you don't use something, unless you're saving it as some kind of antique for your kids, or some, memento, is that what they call it? Or some kind of, I believe if you do not use something, you absolutely need to sell it or give it away. I wholeheartedly believe that. You either need to sell it, and I'm not saying you need to give away everything, but I do believe, Mike, giving should be a part of our everyday life. Mike, we don't give enough. We really don't. We don't give radically. Like, we give like we go to church and we put a few dollars in the offering. Like, I'm talking, Mike and I literally, every Mother's Day, I want to buy a car and randomly just give it to a single mom that's struggling. Mike, we met a single mom that's trying to raise 4 kids that's homeless.
Yeah.
Homeless, 4 children. Like, I can't even, do you know how hard it is for a mother and a father that have good jobs and good money and can hire a nanny? Even if they could hire a nanny, it's still challenging to raise 4 kids. Can you imagine being a single mom and homeless and trying to keep it together to raise 4 little kids? Give stuff away.
That's the reality in a lot of people's lives.
I used to literally, Mike, I really believe if we got radical about selling and giving, I really believe we would be happier. We would feel more free. We would sleep better. We would be less stressed. We would actually become debt free. We would, enjoy life more. We would actually be able to take more vacations. Listen, vacations are not wrong. They're actually good. Like, you need time to celebrate, to make memories, to rest, to be with your family. I'm for that. But most people never get to do that because they keep buying stuff. I think all of us before the end of next year should go through everything we own and either determine keep it, sell it, or give it. Like, let's get rid of our stuff, my friends. Like, let's downsize. You want to be happier? Downsize. Go give your couch to somebody that's poor. Like, you don't need, I walk into some living rooms, they got 4 couches, and then you go to another living room, there's another 3 couches. I'm like, got 2 people living here. What do you guys do? Rotate the couch every hour? One night we're going to sit on this couch, the next night we're going to sit on this couch. I'm all about, believe me, don't get me wrong, I'm all about furniture. But I'm like, geez.
I'm just visualizing you walk in, go to sit down, they're like, no, it's Wednesday. That couch.
Honey, why did you sit on that chair? That's our Thursday chair. You know that. Please don't sit there. We got to wait till Thursday.
It's powerful what Tommy said. He said God led him and Sonia to give away half of all they own. It was amazing, and they never missed any of it. Half. Wow.
Mike, honestly, and I'm not pat on my shoulder, when I had a big house, every year for Christmas, we had on average 25 homeless people to our house for dinner. If you're going to get a big house, use it. Have people over. Don't get a big house and then just have this 5,000 square foot home that just for you and your kids. What do you need all that space for? If you're going to do it and do good things with it, then I can see it being justifiable myself. But why in the world? I got friends that buy these massive houses and they got rooms they never walk in. They got rooms they never use.
Yep. You're right, Al. Tommy is a great guy. We got to meet him at Mission 25, him and his family this past weekend. It was great serving with you, Tommy, and your family. I noticed Jonathan, our good friend Jonathan Fontana, said, my future home will have 7 couches, and I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. I didn't jump on him right away, and then he says, and 11 or 12 foster kids. So, if you really need 7 couches, get 7 couches.
Get 20. If you need, I'll buy you a couch. If you get 11, 12 foster kids, I'm buying you a couch. Mark it down. Remember this show. Quote me on it. Hey, listen to this. Please, again, I feel like we got to clarify because it's hard to really dive into a topic like this without on such a short amount of time. I'm not against having stuff. I'm against having stuff if you're going to be selfish, greedy, and miserable, which I know people that are that way. I'm against having stuff if you're not a big, huge giver and stuff like what we do. Hey, whether it's Mission 25 or you find another missions movement, but I can tell you this. You better get in Matthew 25 and James 1:27, and you better live there. Because if you're not living in Matthew 25 and James 1:27, and you're living the American dream, I love you, I love you, I love you. You're in some big, deep, deep, deep trouble. And you're heading for disaster.
Go ahead and say it.
And what's that? You're going to hell?
Go ahead and say it. You're going to hell.
You're the first one in hell. In fact, before God puts anyone else there, you're going first. Oh, I love it. So I've learned, Mike, that it really is. Until you've done it, like, giving is the most freeing thing you can ever do. Like, I've given away 3 cars in my day. It's healing, man. It's healing to give. It's healing to walk up to someone and say, here, I want to bless you. I want to give this to you. You know, and to see them go like, are you serious? Like, you're kidding me. Like, dude, it's the most freeing experience on the planet. There's nothing like it. There's nothing better than giving. Like, that's my biggest vision in life, is to experience a life of giving. To, like, literally be able to see a military couple in a restaurant, a group of people eating, or an elderly couple, and saying to a waitress, hey, don't tell them, bring me their ticket. Like, who don't want that experience, right? You see, maybe you see a single mom, and, wouldn't that be awesome to keep, like, 5 different $200 Visa gift cards, and you see a single mom and her kids waiting at a bus stop, and you pull over and say, here, this is for you and your kids, and it's a $200 gift card, Visa gift card she can use anywhere. Or, just like, sometimes, like Tony Robbins says, sometimes he'll just go to the streets in San Francisco and just hand out $100 bills. Come on. You know how fun that would be? You know how fun that would be to randomly, like, even like when we take the homeless people shopping. Mike, we've been there. We take a homeless person shopping for brand new shoes. Is there a better feeling to watch their smile, to watch us walk into a shoe store and say, pick out any pair you want, and to see them bent over tying their new shoes? Are like taking a fatherless kid out shopping for clothes or for a bike. That's the heart and soul of Mission 25, my friends. It's fun.
Exactly. It is fun. Hey, we didn't really do a recap, and we're like 7 minutes over already, my friend.
Yeah, that's your fault. I'm going to let you take a hit for that.
It's totally my fault. This guy right here.
Maybe we'll recap Mission 25 on Friday because it's our family and relationships. So if not, then we'll do a recap next Wednesday. But it was amazing. And it's even listen, Mission 25 next year is going to make this year look like a balloon fight at a Sunday school picnic. It's going to be like, really, a water balloon fight? Like, that's it? That's all you got planned for us? Or it's going to feel like, it's going to feel like, remember in Sunday school when you only got the one animal cracker? That's what Mission 25 is going to feel like this year compared to next year. It's going to be amazing. We've got some things coming around the corner, my friend.
One animal cracker.
Mike, are you going to title this episode, You're Going to Hell?
I might. I might.
And then listen, I don't ever put people in hell. But if I'm ever going to put people in hell, it's going to be complainers, greedy people, and what else did I say? People that have 7 couches. Yeah. Anyone with 7 couches going straight to hell. No, I'm just love your couches. Just let me sit on them. You ever go to people's houses and you don't even feel comfortable sitting on the furniture? You're just like,
yeah.
Can I?
You're like, why is this plastic on here?
That's right. You go to some place that, oh, don't sit there. I still got the plastic. It's from when we bought it 2 years ago. Don't just.
Are you going to set your coffee cup down?
Hold on, you. Are you kidding? Listen, you ready for this? You know why God? Oh my goodness, I feel it now. If you can't give it away, anytime God says give it away, it's got too big a hold on you. Too big a hold.
Oh, come on.
Hear me? If at any moment God should be able to walk up to you and say, give it away. And if you struggle with God saying give it away, it's got a hold on you.
It's good. Just like Karen said earlier, does the stuff have you?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Carol did it, man. Carol's giving spirit is exploding. She gave her sugar away. Carol, you're having a breakthrough, and that's where it all begins, girl. No, Carol, listen, just 2 weeks ago, Carol was out feeding the homeless, got a brand new pair of shoes, and a girl didn't have shoes, and Carol took off her shoes and gave them to her. That's the kind of lady she is, you know.
That's exactly right.
Mike,
Actually gave her about half her clothes.
Our show went 10 minutes late today, but we're making up for Monday because we missed Monday. So this is a little bonus today for Monday. But to save my friendship with Mike, we're going to have to cut it short now. No, I'm just kidding. You know I love Mike. Mike is the kindest person on the planet. Hey, Mike, can you give us a quick recap today? And then we'll let everyone go and enjoy their day and go start selling their stuff. eBay's gonna have a like, whoa, where'd all these people come from? We ain't got room for all this product.
So the recap today is the apostles were real people. And let's see, what else? Don't be a complainer or you're going to hell. And give away your couches. And fund to Mission 25 and you'll be blessed. Come on, people.
Big money to Mission 25. Not, you know, there's people that are watching the show that have big money. Give it. Again, we're doing this as a favor to you. We love you guys. You've been a blessing, and we will see you tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for our talk show about business and entrepreneurship. We'll see you at 9:30 EST. If you like any of these episodes and they help you, share. Speaking of giving, give it. Send the link, text it to friends. Let your grandma watch it. Put it on your Facebook. Don't forget you can go to iTunes and type in Fuel for Success and download any of our previous shows on your podcast. And we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Mike, enjoy your day, my friend.
Y'all have the best Wednesday of the month. God bless.